Yeah, it's pretty damn nice. I think I'm gonna stay here a couple of days. It's much like that dreamy tropical island. After a couple of nights spent recovering in Port Clinton, I broke up the trip north by stopping in Supply Bay and then headed up to Middle Percy, which I was super excited about. Not a good morning for sailing yet, but a very good morning for just having a tea and relaxing. Yeah, there's no wind, but there's lots of pretty. So some wind has come, and it's brought the fog with it, which is interesting, isn't it? It's quite funny. Me and that yacht in front of me literally pulled our anchors up exactly the same time and had the same idea. I think we're both just having breakfast and waiting for some wind. This is my first real fog. I wasn't expecting it in somewhere so warm. This is really bizarre. It's really hot. I'm cooking. I can't see a thing. How Scandinavian does this look? It really doesn't feel like North Queensland at all. This is very strange. The coast up from Port Clinton has to be, and like up to Port Clinton, has to be one of the highlights of the trip so far. It's just beautiful, like bright sand, big hills, no one there. The army has it, which is annoying because you can't get on and do hikes and stuff, but it also means that it's left pretty undeveloped, which is beautiful. And I've had lots of time to look at it, doing an average of 2 knots. I've done 10 knots in 5 hours. I'd usually have done 20 in that time, so all the time in the world to do it. But thankfully I've been doing lots of little projects. I put a couple of cupboards back on that have been ripped off the hinges. Installed this little compass here. Started sanding some stuff down to paint the boat, and yeah, I'm about to have a tinker with the electronics. So that's the beauty of moving very slowly. Just been tidying up the electronics to make them real nice and neat. Yeah, and I'm putting the charge controllers a bit further up, so they've got a bit of air. They've got a vent between them, and then they're kind of easy to see, and they're not just kind of hanging around like down there. So yeah, I got a bit of those to do. Got some of the jobs I should do more, but I'd rather do the electronics because it's kind of a bit more fun. So you got to do something that you don't like and then something that you do like. So today is something I want to do. I often feel really trapped on a boat, very like dictated by the weather what to do, but then on days like this you just feel so free. It's just beautiful. You're just zooming along. It's like warm now. You're going 4.5 knots, way faster than walking pace. You just got the most beautiful mountains here. Just a couple of other yachts just blasting around. Yeah. Whoa, look at a whale! Of course there is. Wait, there's a spray. There it is. It's pretty funny at the moment because I'm going the other way from them. Yeah, well look at that. It all evens out, but you got to really take these moments. Just sitting at the front is just so goddamn good. It's a good adventure sailing. This is nuts. You'd probably think I'm going 1 knot. The wind's died, so I've got the motor on. But like that is like going nowhere speed. And you can kind of look at the land and like 4 knots. Which is awesome, except I'm a bit worried about when I anchor and I've got 3 knots of current that's going to be blasting me around, which is very much the stories you hear about this part of the world. They have like 7-meter tides. The Broad Sound region of Queensland has the largest tidal variations in the east side of Australia, about 7 metres. This can create some tidal currents of about 5 knots, which extend a long way out to sea and make navigation tricky. They also made for a very bad sleep in Supply Bay that night, so I was super excited to get off to Percy the next day. So, heading to the Percys today, and the wind last night was blowing its tits off easterly, which was okay because I was protected, but had a pretty bad night because the swell built up and the tide was really strong, so I had a tide against swell. And now had a good couple of good hour, doing like 3.5 knots. But now you have that terrible thing where there's plenty of swell to move the boat around, but there's not enough wind to keep the sails inflated. So it just goes like that. And so I haven't really got enough fuel to waste motoring. If I did, I would put the sails down. Ah, well, that was a very appreciated little puff of wind at the end. It took my ETA from 8 p.m. when I was doing 2 knots to now I'm getting in around 5:30, which is a delight. Yeah, it's really nice to be at Middle Percy. It looks really pretty. So this is Middle Percy Island, and it's pretty nice, isn't it? There's a little toppy there. There's a couple of catamarans, another boat just coming in. It was crowded yesterday. Everyone's left, I think just because everyone's on their way somewhere, but also because there's a slight northerly coming in. Well, there was an easterly yesterday, which is what this boat is most protected from. But wow, there's also some hikes and a homestead. I'm actually going to get some internet now and then do a hike later, but this looks pretty much like that dreamy tropical island. And I'll film a bit more inside that hut in a sec. So this is the Percy Island Yacht Club. I'd heard about it, but it's actually kind of cooler than I thought it was going to be. They've got a massive hammock there. I'm just coming down from the top of this A-frame shelter. Yeah, little fire area. We had some drinks last night. Nice big table to eat. Bunch more hammocks and a beautiful view. And just bits and pieces that everyone's added along the way over the decades. Yeah, it's pretty damn nice. I'm gonna stay here a couple of days. It's especially on that boat that gets really hot now. It's suddenly really hot because it was just, it was actually quite cozy, and now it's kind of hot. There we go, there's Middle Percy Island.
On my second day in this paradise, I met Kay, who was living in the homestead in the middle of the island. I went and helped her with a bit of weeding in her garden, and then had a really lovely chat, talking about all things Middle Percy.
Yeah, I went today and helped out in the garden, which is actually really nice. Because being on the boat, you don't have much of that going on, soily kind of things. So it was nice, just talking, and Kate, who was here, was super insightful. So it was, a really nice day. Now off to hang out with people on the fire.
Much like the classic 2000s movie The Island, I found that everybody that set foot on Percy had become enchanted by it. I was included in this. I'm not sure what it was about the island, but I still think about it now. And it was certainly the highlight of my trip north.